full effect.
He's talking some trash to Durant as they're walking right in front of our table.
Behind the curtain, tension had been brewing between Edwards and Durant for months. Following Durant's brutal remarks regarding Ant's personal life, the young star felt he had zero option but to clap back hard. Edwards effectively declared open season on his idol. Anthony Edwards walked into the 2024 NBA playoffs with a singular objective: dismantle Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns. The Minnesota Timberwolves squared off against the Suns in the Western Conference opening round, sparking what became the defining feud of the modern NBA era. Edwards, only 22, had spent his whole life worshiping Kevin Durant. He'd crowned Durant his G.O.A.T., crediting the legend he'd watched since age 5 for his own basketball obsession. But that adoration wasn't going to spare Durant from the storm that was brewing. Game 1 hit on April 20th, 2024. 19,000 fans crammed into the Target Center, the energy buzzing. Sensing a historic night, Edwards began methodically, testing the waters against Durant's defensive smother. At 35, Durant still wielded the lethal scoring toolkit of a two-time champ. He took the Edwards assignment personally, eager to check the rising phenom himself. The first half stayed tight, with Phoenix lingering within striking distance. Then the third quarter hit, and Anthony Edwards morphed into an absolute nightmare. He went nuclear for 18 points in that quarter alone, clinically picking apart Durant and the Suns' defense. The defining snapshot of the rivalry came at the 3:37 mark. Edwards isolated Durant on the wing, freezing the future Hall of Famer with a hesitation dribble. He stepped back, rose up, and buried a three-pointer right over Durant's fingertips. That dagger pushed Minnesota's lead to 16. Durant tries to lock him up. Edwards splits the double team, gets the look, butter. Oh man, Ant-Man is in his bag. And yeah, he's letting Durant hear about it as they walk right past us. Edwards backpedals down the floor, eyes locked on KD. Lip readers and hot mics caught exactly what went down. The specific language wasn't TV-friendly, but the message was clear. Edwards told Durant he was cooked, washed, and too old to hold him. The arena exploded with Ant-Man chants as Edwards nodded, barking toward the Phoenix bench. Durant just stood there grinning, shaking his head with a look that screamed genuine amusement mixed with real respect. The refs swallowed their whistles, letting them chirp without tossing out technicals, which only ramped up the intensity. Edwards kept his foot on the gas, drawing contact and draining buckets. Even when Devin Booker got a soft call, Edwards turned to the stripes and shouted them down, proving he didn't fear a soul in that building. Durant put up 31 points, but he couldn't stem the tide. The final board read 120-95, a total blowout. In the post-game presser, Edwards dropped one of the coldest quotes of the entire postseason. He spoke about Durant with total reverence, while admitting he'd just humiliated his hero. Yeah, man. Did you catch him in the third? I felt like we should have been up 15 or 18 early in the third, and if I'm not wrong, he hit 4 or 5 straight buckets like it was nothing. I honestly turned into a fan for a second. I was out there thinking, damn, he's nice. Like there's nothing we can do. Edwards confessed that even amidst the trash talk, he found himself fanboying mid-game when Durant went on that heater. He called it one of the greatest feelings of his life, draining a three and talking smack to the very guy he grew up idolizing. This duality, Edwards, as both a ruthless assassin and a giddy fan, captivated the basketball world. Durant took the high road afterward, brushing off the jawing as just part of the competition. It's just hoops, he said. You get hot, shots fall, you get hyped. Durant hyped up Edwards' energy, saying he was incredibly impressed and loved everything about the kid's game. That response highlighted the mutual respect beneath the fire. The highlight reel blew up online, racking up over 6 million views on YouTube. Reddit threads dissected every frame, with users trying to transcribe Edwards' exact trash talk. One comment summed it up perfectly. Drilling a three and roasting your favorite player has to be a new unlock. That post hit 47,000 upvotes on the NBA subreddit, cementing it as a top playoff moment. The media labeled the performance cold-blooded, sparking debates about whether we were witnessing the official torch passing from KD's generation to the Ant-Man era. The league didn't fine him for the talk, but the message was received. Anthony Edwards wasn't just skilled, he was fearless, refusing to stop until he'd proven himself against everyone, even his idol. The Timberwolves rode that wave through games 2 and 3, taking a commanding 3-0 series lead. Edwards averaged 31 points a night, while Durant posted 26.8. But the stats only told half the story. Edwards was outplaying Durant in every metric that mattered, defensively, offensively, and psychologically. Game 4 landed on April 28, 2024, at the Footprint Center. Facing elimination, Durant knew his title window was slamming shut. Phoenix came out swinging, fighting for their lives. Durant scored efficiently, dropping 33, but Edwards matched him blow for blow, racking up 40 points on 7 of 13 shooting from deep, plus 9 boards and 6 assists. The nail in the coffin came at the 2:18 mark of the fourth. Edwards drove baseline right at Durant and Bradley Beal. Both Suns defenders collapsed, thinking they had the lane cut off. Instead, Edwards took flight between them, hammering a thunderous poster dunk right over Durant's head. The crowd in Phoenix gasped in collective shock. Boos mingled with disbelief at the athleticism they'd just witnessed. The refs reviewed it, but the ruling stood clean dunk. No foul, just Edwards overpowering 2 defenders with pure physical dominance. He strutted off with that signature Atlanta swagger, yelling at his bench while Durant peeled himself off the floor. A final score of 122-116 sealed the 4-0 sweep, sending the Suns packing in the first round. Edwards had pulled off the impossible. He'd knocked his favorite player out of the playoffs while immortalizing himself with a signature highlight. In a Netflix clip released later, Edwards reflected on that dunk with his usual confidence. "I did that to KD. I'm the greatest." He explained that Durant accepting the defensive challenge made the victory taste that much sweeter. Edwards noted he was genuinely glad Durant tried to stop him instead of switching onto an easier cover. YouTube comments were flooded with praise. One fan wrote, "MJ is back." Another commented, "That was a straight-up I came, I saw, I conquered dunk. Nasty." The media consensus solidified around one theme: the torch had been passed. The new generation was officially snatching the crown. Edwards offered one last quote that summer before the Olympics. "I'm hyped to play with him. Gonna talk a little trash and remind him I sent him home." That mix of reverence and ruthlessness defined Edwards' approach to Durant. He loved the man, but he refused to let that love stop him from destroying him on the hardwood. For his part, Durant stayed classy. He doubled down on his praise, reiterating how impressed he was and that he loved everything about Ant's game. That response elevated Durant in the eyes of many. Here was a legend gracefully nodding to his successor. Rather than making excuses or acting bitter, getting swept sent the Suns organization into an immediate tailspin. Suddenly, everyone questioned how the roster was built, whether Durant actually fit the system, and if Phoenix had blown their championship window. On the flip side, Edwards' confidence was going through the roof. He rolled into the 2024 Olympics with more hype than just about any other American player, and he backed it up on the world stage. Naturally, social media had a field day with the memes. The viral hit showed Edwards literally snatching the torch right out of Durant's hands. Other clips showed KD aging in fast forward while Ant dunked all over him. The internet crowned a new king, forcing Kevin Durant to watch his status slip away to the guy who used to idolize him. Then, Durant literally got elbowed back into the conversation. The 2024-25 season just gave them more chances to go at it. Minnesota completely owned the series, sweeping it 4-0 and pushing their win streak against Durant-led squads to 7 straight games. Every matchup just threw more gas on the fire. Edwards got bolder with the trash talk, while Durant tried to keep his head up and reclaim some dignity. Then came March 3rd, 2025. The Wolves welcomed Phoenix to the Target Center, and Ant put on a clinic. He dropped over 30 points and drained 5 triples, marking the 10th time that season he hit those numbers, setting a new franchise record. The stat sheet didn't show the real drama, though. Edwards spent all 4 quarters absolutely roasting Durant's defense. After burying a contested jumper right in KD's face, Ant spun around and let him have it. "KD, come on, KD. Like, you ain't no defensive player." That sting lingered because, honestly, he wasn't wrong. Defense was never Durant's calling card, and Edwards was picking apart every hole in his game. The home crowd went nuts at the verbal jab, realizing Ant was playing a whole different level of mind games. KD laughed it off, trying to stay cool like he always does, but everybody watching knew the vibe had changed for good. Ant owned KD every time they matched up, and no amount of taking the high road could hide that reality. After the buzzer, Edwards kept the pressure on in the interviews. He admitted seeing Durant make shots made him feel like a fanboy again, then immediately switched back to criticism. "Sure, we destroyed them," he grinned. Marcus nailed the headline. Edwards has no chill. Then, March 30th, 2025 rolled around, and things got physical in a way nobody saw coming. The Wolves headed down to Phoenix for another showdown. Just another game until 2 minutes and 43 seconds left in the first, when a transition play flipped the script. Ant went up for a long pass meant for Durant, and KD swung his arm back trying to box out. KD's elbow smashed right into Ant's nose, dropping the young star to the hardwood. Edwards crumbled, clutching his face as the trainer sprinted out. You could see blood on the towel he pressed to his face. The crowd at the Footprint Center went from rowdy to worried real quick, mixing their drinks with genuine concern. They walked Edwards back to the locker room, leaving the arena wondering if he was done for the night. As the applause died down, the announcers noted that facial contusions are just part of the grind. It happens a lot. The refs went to the monitor and called it incidental contact. No flagrant, just a common foul on Durant, his first of the night. The call matched the tape. Durant wasn't headhunting. That elbow was just the result of two elite hoopers going full speed. Edwards came back out in the second quarter, his eye and nose already puffing up. The docs called it a nasal contusion, but there was no way he was sitting out. He dropped 20 more points after getting rocked, leading Minnesota to a 124-109 victory and keeping their boot on the Suns' neck. Afterward, Ant shrugged off the injury with his usual grit. Nasal contusion? I'm good. KD stayed quiet about the collision, letting it blow over without making a scene. Social media, however, wasn't letting it go that easily. YouTube flooded with clips titled "KD knocks out Ant and has zero regrets," racking up thousands of views. Fans cracked jokes that Durant finally figured out how to stop Edwards by physically beating him up. People started wondering if Ant would seek revenge next time. The Times of India even ran a piece on the uncertainty of Edwards' health, though that turned out to be a nothing burger. That hit added a physical edge to the beef. Edwards had been winning the war of words and stats, but KD was the one who literally drew blood. Since it was an accident, it didn't turn into a brawl, but it was a solid reminder that the NBA is a contact sport. People get hurt, even when nobody means to do it. By now, the rivalry was way bigger than basketball. Social media turned into a battlefield where Ant and KD traded shots in front of millions of spectators. Ant made a habit of claiming his jumper was better than Durant's, a bold take considering KD is one of the greatest scorers ever. Durant fired back with personal jabs that instantly went viral. In one alleged response to Ant's shooting claims, Durant hit below the belt. Sure, you're the best shooter, just not on the court. You're a shooter with 4 different girls. That's why you got 4 kids. The roast played on unverified but loud rumors about Edwards' messy home life, that the 22 or 23-year-old had fathered kids with multiple women. Durant went straight for the jugular, pivoting from hoops to personal drama and leaving Edwards without a good comeback. Another viral exchange featured Durant pointing out Edwards had 4 child support cases at age 22. The fans ate it up. KD finally caught a dub on the timeline. One post hit 16,000 likes. The consensus was that while Ant owned the hardwood, KD was winning the internet. Reportedly, Edwards actually asked Durant to chill with the replies, basically waving a white flag on the digital front. Durant's reply was cold as ice. Get better first. The message was loud and clear. KD would stop the roasting once Edwards actually put a ring on his finger or did something that mattered. Naturally, dragging family into it rubbed some people the wrong way. Critics thought bringing up family business crossed the line for pros. But let's be real, most fans loved the drama, sharing the posts all over Instagram and Twitter. This wasn't just basketball anymore. It was reality TV for the millions watching. Interestingly, some sleuths figured out that a lot of those viral screenshots were totally fake. The NBA meme machine runs on fake quotes, and the Ant vs. KD saga was the perfect fuel for that kind of content. Fans couldn't always tell the real posts from the manufactured drama, but looking at the engagement numbers, nobody really cared about the truth. Despite the heat, Edwards always fell back on his love for the vet. Gotta love KD, he'd say, even after a particularly brutal round of trash talk. It showed how weird their dynamic was, real respect buried under layers of hostility and digital warfare. But then, things shifted again. January 2026 started a new chapter. Durant punched his ticket out of Phoenix, landing with the Houston Rockets to try and lead a fresh squad of young guns. That trade was basically Phoenix admitting their title window was nailed shut, mostly because Edwards and the Wolves kept slamming it in their faces. January 16, 2026 marked the first time they met after the move. The Rockets hosted Minnesota at the Toyota Center, but Ant was stuck on the bench managing a foot injury. While we missed out on another on-court battle, it actually opened the door for a rare moment of peace between them. Kevin Durant absolutely went to work, pouring in a season-high 39 points and draining 6 out of 8 from deep. It turned into a shootout with Julius Randle, who matched him with 39 for Minnesota. but the Rockets walked away with the 110-105 W. Durant finally shook that losing curse against the T-Wolves, even if Edwards wasn't suited up to stop him. During a clock stoppage around the 5:52 mark in the third, cameras caught Edwards and Durant cracking up on the sidelines. "Word is," Edwards chirped, "come on, gang. I was waiting on you." Durant fired back about Minnesota's brutal winner, only for Edwards to allegedly clap back by calling KD ashy, basically telling him to go find some lotion. That back and forth showed the real love hidden behind the competition. The media ate it up, focusing on the mutual respect shining through the beef. Fans hyped up KD's night, though plenty admitted the scoreboard might have looked different if Edwards had been healthy. It was a rare dub for Durant against Minnesota, but Edwards' absence definitely put an asterisk next to it. Then came the controversy that almost torched their good vibes. Sometime around late 2025 or early 2026, a viral screenshot surfaced showing Edwards supposedly commenting on a pic of Bronny James and his girl, Parker Whitfield. The comment read, "Bronny, you are lucky to have her. It's time to build your own family." It looked like genuine big bro advice to the Lakers rookie, but Durant allegedly swept the leg with a brutal response. Telling someone to start a family while you left yours is diabolical. The typo writing left instead of left just made the meme spread even faster. Durant was basically calling Edwards a hypocrite for preaching family values while supposedly abandoning his own. That angle hit home with fans tracking the gossip about Edwards' personal life, and the post went nuclear. A post from Basketball Graphico racked up 878,000 views, complete with crying and skull emojis to highlight the savagery. A Twitter repost by Hoopses pulled in over 1.6 million views, 18,000 likes, and 1,200 reposts. That clapback instantly became one of the biggest NBA social moments of the year, sparking everything from cruel jokes to serious talks about crossing the line. One user read Durant's jab as a direct order for Edwards to stop handing out life advice when he supposedly couldn't handle his own business. Another cracked that Edwards has a whole starting five of kids with different moms, while Durant was just sniping from the bleachers. Some fans claimed they lost all respect for Edwards. Who are you to tell Bronny to start a family? KD ain't lying. Meanwhile, others defended Ant, noting the whole thing was likely fake, just another day in NBA meme culture. TikTok started popping up, mocking Edwards' wisdom, questioning if his own house was in order. But digging into the exchange raised some major red flags about whether it was real. No one could find the original comments on Edwards' verified Instagram or Durant's KD Trey 5 Twitter account. The slick graphic design screamed manufactured meme rather than a real screenshot. Plus, major outlets like ESPN or The Ringer didn't touch it, sticking to the general basketball rivalry instead. Edwards has said before that he dodges social media specifically to avoid this kind of drama, making the post look even shadier. It felt real because it tracked perfectly with their vibe, Edwards shouting bold takes and Durant countering with personal daggers. But honestly, it was almost too perfect. Fake or not, the meme did its job. It pulled millions of views, ignited debates about athlete hypocrisy, and added another layer to the Edwards-Durant mythos. Bronny and his camp never said a word, which is rare for real drama involving LeBron's inner circle. The fallout went beyond hoops, highlighting how toxic NBA Twitter can get. Fake beefs travel faster than facts, and the algorithm just rewards the nastiest attacks. Edwards' endorsements faced some heat, with brands wondering if his unfiltered style was becoming a liability. Yet through all the noise, the core dynamic didn't budge. Edwards owned Durant on the hardwood, while KD occasionally took the W on the timeline. The Wolves were 7-1 against Durant's squad since 2024, sweep included. No clever tweet could change the scoreboard. Edwards kept praising Durant publicly, even as the rivalry heated up. That paradox is the modern NBA in a nutshell. Players worshiping their opponents 1 minute and trying to dismantle their legacies the next. Edwards grew up thinking Durant was the GOAT, but he knows that to surpass his idol, he has to embarrass him. Nearing his late 30s, Durant is finally staring down Father Time. The move to Houston was a Hail Mary for another ring, but Edwards and the new generation are standing right in the doorway. If KD can't physically dominate anymore, he'll take the psychological win on social media. If he can't beat Edwards with a ball, he'll cut him with a tweet. As 2026 rolls on, this feud isn't cooling off. Every win boosts Edwards' ego, while every loss just fuels Durant's drive to shut the haters up. Their next matchup guarantees more trash talk, more viral clips, and plenty of entertainment. Real or staged, organic or scripted, the Edwards-Durant saga captures exactly what pro sports has become. The game isn't just played on the floor anymore. It's in the press conferences, the comments sections, and the fans' heads. Box scores, points, boards, wins only tell half the truth. You need the psychological warfare and the weird mix of love and hate to get the full picture. Anthony Edwards came for the crown because that's what young kings do. Durant clapped back because legends don't just roll over. They've built the defining rivalry of this era, a clash people will argue about for decades. And you can bet there's more coming. The saga of the young phenom versus the aging emperor is far from over. The basketball world is glued to the screen, waiting for the next round. Every time they tip off, it's about more than just a W. It's a generational war, a legacy fight, and a personal grudge match. Neither is willing to lose. Edwards hasn't been shy. He won't stop until he's eclipsed everything Durant ever did. That playoff sweep was just the opening act. The chirping, the posters, the Twitter wars, it's all about Edwards seizing the throne as the undisputed face of the league. But Durant refuses to go gently into that good night. Going to Houston proves he's still ring chasing and still dangerous. That 39 piece against Minnesota showed his bag is as deep as ever. He might have lost a step, but the fire is still raging. This rivalry is just the eternal cycle of the NBA playing out again. Young lions stalking aging kings, legends protecting their turf, it's history on repeat. Jordan had Isaiah, LeBron had Pierce. Now, Anthony Edwards has Kevin Durant. The upcoming installment is looming, and judging by the patterns we've seen, the intensity is about to spike way beyond anything we've witnessed so far. For more deep dives like this, go ahead and tap one of the options popping up now.